Hello everybody, this is Enforma, and welcome back to the first tutorial-related video in months. I wanted to get something short and over with, which this is something people ask me about a lot. This is an animation helper. As you can see, this is ND's Nightmare Fredbear, but it is much, much lower poly. I've got an animation set to it, some rigs on the legs, and I'll go over all the basics of what an animation helper is and how to apply it. First up, what one is. Pretty much, if you're going to make one, you're going to need to find some way to make the vert count a lot lower. I'm no porter, so I'm not the most reliable help, but you're going to make the vert count a lot lower so it takes up less memory in SFM. As you can see, this model is very low poly, but that doesn't matter because what matters here is stability, because this is not the final model. Anyway, on to replacing it. Also, another thing about making animation helpers, model needs to be exactly the same size, have like the same bone structure, or else the model will just bug out. But anyway, for the case of ND's animation helpers, we're going to create animation set for model, and we're going to go to ND. We'll see TF, ND, FNAF 4, AH. That is an important thing right there, AH. Hopefully this is showing on the screen. And we have ourselves the animation helper, Nightmare Fredbear. The AH ones are those. Anyway, we got ourselves a little animation of Nightmare Fredbear on here. We're going to go to that. Just a simple little trash animation I made for this tutorial. But anyway, getting to the important part. Well, of course, we have our bones, which those will be important in a minute. Anyway, create an animation set for model. Also recommended, if you're doing an animation that has any form of audio in it, remove the audio before you replace the models. Even if it's like early in the session, you're going to be keeping these models until the session is done. You're done with it. First thing, you're going to remove the audio. That's just so SFM doesn't crash. So you're going to be creating an animation set for a new model, whatever it's called. And you're going to want to go to the one that pretty much is the same without AH. Go here, click Nightmare Fredbear. And you can see we have a much more detailed model. And there are two ways we can go about this. We can go to the motion editor, or what's it called? Motion editor, yeah. And we can right click here, copy samples, and then go here, paste samples. You'll see there's one big thing, but I'll get to that in a moment. Key thing about animation helpers. Make sure that if you scaled the model down, or you put any form of IK rigs on it, period, you match those exactly. Like, we're going to need to lock the feet here. I didn't change the scale. Whoops. Copy our IK constraints. That's what I use. And then IK constraint. And then now, if we paste the samples, the model will fit in perfectly. And make that invisible because we don't need the animation helper anymore, and our animation is there perfectly. Now, another way we can go about this, which in some situations is more helpful. Whoops, where'd that go? Anyway, I guess that was a thing of copying the samples. I'm getting a call from someone. Don't mind that. Anyway, we're going to go back to the Nightmare Fredbear. I probably should have selected Norm because the other one is really high poly. Anyway, other way we can go about this, click here. Right click around this general area in the gray. Select all. Copy. Make sure our IK constraints are applied. And then paste on this in the same. SFM is a little buggy sometimes, and paste. There we go. And now we'll have the new model in the same spot. So hopefully this is helpful for you, because animation helpers are something TF, you're a fucking genius for making this. Pardon my French. But anyway, I hope this tutorial was helpful for you, and if there's anything you need help with, then feel free to ask in the comments. And, well, there you go. That's pretty much the basics of animation helpers, and probably most everything you'll need to know.